Been following us the past few weeks, we went over each division, and this is our last division in the AFC, and we're going through every single team's schedule. And then after this, next week, we're going to have a recap with the standings in the AFC, go over all the teams that we predicted and their records. So we'll have it all on the board. So we'll have that all the way to the end of the year so we can see where we were right, where we were wrong. And then we're going to also do a updated one in the midseason with what we're picking week in and week out.
Absolutely. So without further ado, let's pay some homage to the defending Super Bowl champions. We'll start with the Chiefs, pivot to the Broncos. Let's start week one in the trenches with one of the hottest, most highly anticipated teams, Thursday Night Football, Detroit Lions at Arrowhead.
At Arrowhead, I'm going to go Lions in this game. And then as soon as we heard of this game, I was saying Lions all the way, baby, because if I'm Dan Campbell, I am the ultimate motivator for a team. Just him, you see Hard Knocks with the neck veins popping when he's giving a speech. He's like, yeah, man. And then his just neck fully in flames. He's like, if we're going to go out there, be that team, capitalize on the momentum where we went out there, even though we knew we were going to miss the playoffs, we knocked out Aaron Rodgers, sent him home packing, didn't give up. And then we're going to go in to Arrowhead, beat the defending champs. What better way to start the season? All the drama in the offseason with the gambling and the ice tubs. We get it. Players were suspended. Things happen. The Lions are going to put all of that behind him, and I expect last time Jared Goff and Patrick Mahomes met, it was the greatest offensive game in NFL history in September, when defenses are usually pretty bad in the first week, especially with how bad the Lions and the Chiefs defenses typically are early in the season. I mean, can we get in the 40s? I think so. I think so.
I see the vision. Then we go to week two. They go to Jacksonville to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ooh, that's a tough game because you're coming off a loss to the Lions, going to a hungry Jacksonville Jaguars team. I think this is going to be a game where the Jags aren't too buttoned up. You're still easing Calvin Ridley back into the system. So I'm going to have the Chiefs winning simply because I think they beat them pretty convincingly, even with Patrick Mahomes hobbled in that game. That was the game where he hurt his ankle. So I do think they're going to be able to go in Jacksonville, and I'm not going to pick them to open 0-2.
So then they go back home to Arrowhead, and they take on another team that people are excited to see, the Bears.
The Bears. I think they go back to Arrowhead and beat the Bears. I think this is going to be a tough competitive game. Maybe we see some flashes from Justin Field, but I think the Bears just still haven't added enough. This was a team that needed a complete overhaul, and I still think they're going to need one more year of drafting and free agency. And you have a new head coach. New systems need to be installed. We need to grow our roots, as Nick Sirianni says. So give me the Chiefs.
And then Sunday Night Football, they go to MetLife Stadium against the Jets.
Against the Jets. Ooh, that's a tough one. But one thing I do know about Patrick Mahomes is when it comes to those rivalry games, like it's Tom Brady last year where he went to Tampa Bay, he put on an absolute clinic. He may be thinking Aaron Rodgers is kind of a flake man. And Aaron Rodgers could realistically go the Jets. This is my last opportunity to leave an impression on people. This is a legacy game for me. So I think Patrick Mahomes puts on a show in MetLife.
And takes the win.
Takes the dub. Absolutely.
And then week 5, they take on what was the 13-4 Vikings. This is week 5, 4:00 game at Minnesota.
At Minnesota, is this a primetime game?
It's a 4:00 game.
Is it? So not 4:25?
It is a 4:25 game.
Okay. I'm going to go Minnesota in this game because early in the season, I don't think the Chiefs secondary is always the most buttoned up. And their defense typically does give up a lot of points in those September and October games. So honestly, I'm going to have similar vibes to what Bills Vikings was last year, and Justin Jefferson makes an incredible play. So I think this is a game where you it's Kirk Cousins. I'm not getting up for it.
Yeah. And then we have the Thursday night game at home versus Denver.
They don't lose to Denver.
That's true.
They don't lose to Denver.
It's true. It's just a fact. Patrick Mahomes is, what is he, 12-0?
Yeah.
Against the Broncos. It's insane. And then facing off another division foe at home versus the Chargers.
At home versus the Chargers. These are always tough competitive games. I'm going to have the Chargers taking the first game in Arrowhead. So I think this is another loss. It's always tough, and I feel like Patrick Mahomes can take his foot off the gas at times.
Yeah, and him and Herbert always have great games against each other.
Yeah, it's always a one possession game.
And then they go back to Denver, Mile High Stadium.
Again?
Yes. So they face the Broncos in week 6 and week 8. It was a 4:00 game at Denver.
We lost to the Chargers. We're not going to lose 2 in a row. We're the Kansas City Chiefs. We're above that at this point in our career. So going to go to Denver and win that game.
And then week 9, they go overseas to take on the Miami Dolphins.
That's a no. That's just a no. Tyreek Hill, revenge game. And I think there's not really any personnel on the Chiefs that's going to be able to match up with Tyreek Hill. Like, they typically beat even a team like the Bengals with pass rushing and Chris Jones. And Jamar Chase was able to do his thing versus them in the regular season as well. I think Tyreek Hill wants a little bit of get back versus them.
Yeah. So then week 10, they go on their bye.
Okay.
And then they get Monday Night Football week 11 against the Eagles, Super Bowl rematch.
Ooh, I'm going to have the Eagles taking this one. I think the Chiefs gave them everything in the Super Bowl, and I feel like Patrick Mahomes was giving it everything he had on a bum ankle in that game. You don't have Juju Smith-Schuster, who is really the difference maker in that game, and I think you'll have good receivers this year, but I think the Eagles want their get back in this game. This is their prove it game to themselves. So yeah, the Eagles care a lot more about this game than the Chiefs. And one thing I've noticed the past few years, Chiefs haven't cared about the Bengals, haven't cared about the Bills in the regular season. It's more of Patrick Mahomes versus either like Brady or Aaron Rodgers that he gets up for.
Yeah. And then I think I know where you're going to go here. Sunday game, their first game against another division foe at Vegas.
At Vegas. Jimmy G's probably gone by now, so Chiefs.
Yeah.
Come on.
And then, this could be a spicy matchup. Going to Lambeau to take on Jordan Love.
What do you think? So Jordan Love said he was the next Patrick Mahomes. Is he?
When did he say that?
That was his comp. His comp was like the light version of Patrick Mahomes coming out into the NFL. So we're about to see that comp on full display.
Ugh. God help us. And then week 14 at home versus Buffalo.
At home, that's a loss. They've lost to Buffalo the last 2 regular seasons. I think that continues. They want to be able to beat them in the playoffs. They don't want to show them too many of their creative plays on offense. That's a loss.
Okay. And then week 15, Monday Night Football at Gillette.
At
Patriots.
Ooh. Monday Night Football. What time of year is it?
This is December.
December? No, I can't pick the Patriots.
I was gonna say
they just can't score with them. Like, adding like the other corner helps them a lot, but not enough to stop Kelsey and Mahomes.
No, and Patty Mahomes doesn't lose in December either.
Yeah, and I think Sky Moore is going to play a much bigger role this year, as well as Kadarius Toney. I think is going to be up to speed in the system. So those 2 guys are going to be the majority of the offense for them.
I'm not even going to ask you about week 16. They're facing the Raiders again on Christmas.
On Christmas? Oh. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes is going to take all the presents.
And then week 17 at home against the Bengals.
At home versus the Bengals?
Burrowhead.
I think I picked the Chiefs last time. I'm going to go Chiefs again this time. So, yeah, I'm going to pick Chiefs. I think it's going to be another 1 possession game, but the Chiefs kind of got them, and I think the Bengals kind of want to lay low and then beat them in the playoffs this time.
Yeah, and then they end the season with a trip to SoFi to take the Chargers.
And they beat the Chargers this time. They're probably playing for seeding. Unless they've locked up the 1 seed, I think Mahomes is still out there. They're going to go ahead and wrap it up with the Chargers. What's that put them at?
So you have the Chiefs going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have them going 11-6.
11-6, really?
Yeah, which I don't agree with. I think there should be at least 12-5.
Yeah, I would say they're between 11-6 and 13-4. Yeah,
Uh,
there's definitely some more ones in there, but I think it's definitely that you could take a step back this year because especially since they won the Super Bowl last year and then they are playing in a tough division. They can take their foot off the gas. Sometimes Patrick Mahomes gets in the turnover bug, but yeah, 11-6, a lot lower than I thought it would be, but that's where we're at.